and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumas. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chairs today a Council of Ministers devoted to the presentation of a joint statement by the agriculture and trade sectors on the availability of strategic materials. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, tasks Prime Minister to start selling tickets with subsidized prices to the fans of the national football team ahead of the game with the Cameroon. Al-Jaish magazine highlights the edification process of the state institutions despite the various attempts to hinder the march of a new Algeria. And we discover by the end of our news edition a fully female association in charge of preserving patrimony in the province of Tizi Ouzou. Those are today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, chairs today a meeting of the Council of Ministers devoted to the sectors of agriculture and trade, the availability of strategic materials, in addition to the examination of bills related to the promotion of investment, civil and penal procedures, as well as fisheries and aquaculture. Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, to back the national football team fans in their travel to Cameroon to support our national squad, the President tasked Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman to launch from today, March 13th, the ticket sale with subsidized prices so as to ensure all the conditions for the success of this operation. After the President's decision to take in charge the Algerian football fans traveling to the Cameroonian city of Douala to support our national squad in the play-out game for the upcoming World Cup, the Youth Ministry unveiled in a communiqué further details concerning this trip. 12 flights have been programmed starting from Algiers with 4 planes, Oran 2 planes, Constantine 2 planes, Wergla 2 planes, Bashar 2 planes. The final price of this trip stands at 85 Algerian dinars, including the ticket and the visa fees, travel insurance, PCR test meals, and transportation charges from and to the Douala International Airport. The fans are to be aged 18 and above with a valid passport. They have also to be vaccinated. The Health Ministry will take in charge the necessary measures to secure the fans. It should be noted that the deadline for selling tickets is set for March the 15th. Following the President's decision to help and accompany the national football team, the Algerian fans expressed their immense joy and happiness and their great gratitude, since it will allow the national squad to secure a positive result in the first leg. The fans appreciated the subsidized prices, seen as a token of solidarity and important support for the desert warriors willing to progress to the upcoming World Cup.
وان شاء الله يكون فيها الخير علينا ان شاء الله يا ربي وفيها خير ان شاء الله.
نشوفوه تحفيز زعما كاينه من الدوله باش تشجع المنتخب الوطني بيان سير وباش ثاني احنا ماذا بينا نبغوا الاعلام ونبغوا الخضره تاعنا وماذا بينا احنا نربحوا ونروحوا كوب دي موند.
الله يا رب يفرحونا وحنا ثاني نفرحوهم، هما غير يفرحونا تما في الصاد وحنا نفرحوهم برا.
1 2 3 فيفا الجيري ورانا معاها الخضره ديما رابحه ولا خاسره. 1 2 3 فيفا الجيري.
The latest edition of Al-Jaish magazine highlights Algeria's determination to preserve its sovereignty and maintain its security that consolidates the edification process of the state institutions. More details with Manal Ammari.
In its latest editorial entitled March, the Month of Martyrs and Victory, the Al-Jaish magazine affirms that Algeria remains loyal to the legacy of the 5,600,000 martyrs, and that it is determined to follow the path they traced with their noble blood. The editorial specified that in only 2 years a series of projects were completed, including the institutional building of the state, in order to create the necessary conditions for the establishment of a solid economic base that will benefit citizens and ensure Algeria's prosperity. The magazine underlined that in response to Algeria and its president's determination to concretize the citizens' aspirations, certain parties known for their hatred towards our country will do anything to hinder the new Algeria's progress. Despite these attempts, nothing will stop Algeria from moving forward towards a future whose prospects are becoming clearer at all levels. The editorialist recalled the President of the Republic's speech where he stated that our sovereignty disturbs certain parties, but we will continue down this path, driven by an implacable will, so that Algeria will occupy its rightful place at the regional and international levels with the support of the National People's Army. According to the Il magazine, these parties intend to bring up to date obsolete plans in order to disrupt the global strategy adopted by the high authorities in order to get the country back on track, knowing full well that Algeria's capacity will enable it to concretize the people's aspirations within a reasonable time and with the support of the National People's Army, ANP. Along these lines, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Said Chingriha, affirmed while addressing the President of the Republic that to achieve the desired economic recovery, the ANP will ensure the support of these efforts under the President of the Republic's visionary leadership through the continuous development of military industries and the preservation of the national industrial fabric, while ensuring that all security and stability conditions are met. According to the Lieutenant General, stability is one of the necessary conditions for the implementation of the development strategy of the new Algeria. The El Jaish magazine highlighted to this effect the results obtained by the ANP and their loyalty to the martyrs' sacrifices, as well as our national values.
In the new economic development strategy adopted by the state, the government relies on startups to become an economic lever. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, encourages this innovative sector, especially through the digital field, namely the creation of a ministry in charge of knowledge, economy and startups. The details with Manal Ammari.
In an increasingly globalized world, the use of solutions proposed by innovative startups has become crucial. Algeria chose to turn this sector into a national economic lever, thanks to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune's new policy. He established for the first time in Algeria's history a ministry dedicated to startups and the knowledge economy, to regulate the sector and help young project leaders to launch their startups. Startups enable innovation in different sectors of activity, including digital. They create job positions and encourage economic growth. Several startups succeeded during the pandemic in changing Algeria's status from an importing country to an exporting one. Since his inauguration, President Tebboune worked for the promotion of startups within the national economy through different measures and support mechanisms to accompany young project leaders by removing shackles for the benefit of innovative micro-enterprises. Therefore, a digital platform was launched to allow startup managers to carry out administrative procedures online to obtain the label, in addition to the creation of the Algerian Startup Fund to support startups as well as Algeria Venture. The President of the Republic keeps encouraging young Algerian project leaders to create their startups, aiming to make them national and international champions and create on the medium and long terms a favorable investment climate to attract foreign investors.
In Batna, the Directorate of Trade has signed a partnership agreement with the Port of Jinjan to make it easier for investors from all over the region to export their products. Leticia Sidqawi has the details.
The maritime transport of goods is of a paramount importance in promoting exports and developing foreign trade, with particular attention to heavy goods. Economic operators rely a lot on this mean of transport, hence the signing of a cooperation agreement between the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of 6 eastern provinces of the country under the Regional Directorate of Trade and Export Promotion of Batna Province in the port enterprise of Jinjan. We have scheduled further export operations from the port of Jinjan to Latin America, specifically to Costa Rica next week. The objective of adopting this system is to improve quality and encourage exports. Many cargoes are exported via the port of Jinjan, products made in Algeria in the example of ceramics and gas stands of Batna, just like biskra dates and other products. We are approaching the economic operators of this region to listen to their concerns and subsequently ensure adequate solutions. This operation will allow economic operators affiliated to these chambers to benefit from the advantages and facilitations offered by the Port of Jinjan, in particular the reduction of costs in port services. The public authorities are working to increase the number of non-hydrocarbon exports by bringing exporters closer to ports and highlighting customs and tax facilitations and advantages.
In international news, the Sahrawi Authority against the occupation has called on the international community to impose a ban on the export and sale of surveillance software in Morocco due to its repression of fundamental freedoms in occupied Western Sahara. The Sahrawi organization denounced the use of the Pegasus spyware, which helps the Moroccan regime to commit human rights violations against the Sahrawi militants. The International Narcotics Control Board has indicated that Morocco is the largest producer of cannabis destined to the European Union, according to a 2021 report. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime recalls that the trafficking through Moroccan territories of cocaine from Latin America to Europe guarantees significant illegal profits. On to Morocco, that is getting ready to host the 19th edition of the Mediterranean Games. The delegation of the International Committee of Mediterranean Games has paid an inspection visit and was very satisfied with the modern infrastructures realized and the overall process of the preparations. Leticia Sidqawi once again.
The 19th edition of the Mediterranean Games is getting closer. Around 100 days left for the official kickoff of this major sports event. And with that, El Bahia is in full preparation with facilities up to the international standards. On the spot, the International Committee of Mediterranean Games has expressed its satisfaction with the progress.
What we saw of progress is amazing and extraordinary, with the achievement of high-level facilities. I think the province of Oran has the privilege of having these modern infrastructures, not only the stadium but also the village, which is not that easy to build. Aside from the games, it is also useful for the future.
On the first day of the visit of the delegation, meetings were held to inquire about the organization progress. We have met the organization and coordination committees to observe closely all aspects. As you know, we are always assessing the state of the preparations. We are very satisfied with the infrastructures achieved. The delegation of the International Committee of the Mediterranean Games continues its visit, having other meetings to review the ongoing preparations in order to ensure the success of this mega event.
We now invite you to Tizi Ouzou province to meet proud and courageous women who have decided to improve their daily life by creating their own association to preserve the rich heritage of their region. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
They are devoted, courageous and determined. These women from Termitin village decided to organize themselves. This is how their association was born and became active in several fields. I would like to thank my husband and my children so much for encouraging me to create this association. I was able to convince all my neighbors and all the women of the village to join my association. We plan to do organic farming, and why not organize a 100% organic market and revive the trade of our grandmothers. Preserving the heritage of this village, famous for pottery and weaving, is a priority for these women. My dearest wish today is to resume weaving, make traditional carpets, and pass it on to next generations. We would like to train the young girls of the village. These women wanted to pay tribute to the pillars of this village, who lived through the horrors of the French colonialism and who were able to raise their children in very difficult conditions. Emotion, conviviality, and solidarity marked the event. I cannot describe my joy. I'm very happy. May God preserve our country and our children. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all these women. These rich women of their innovative ideas are now only waiting for support to accomplish their noble mission.
Lakhdar Subhi is an outstanding collector in Stif province. He began to collect various objects of national heritage at the end of the 70s with the aim of passing these priceless objects to the future generations. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
Welcome to Ali Baba's cave. This small place in the town of Ouled Tiban in Stif province is full of old objects dating from 100 years. Furniture from another era, agricultural tools, telephones or even irons, and even newspapers dating back to 1917. Having realized that all these objects of national heritage are doomed to disappear over the years, I had the idea of bringing them together and making a varied collection. For example, this pot served for years to our war veterans during the National Liberation War, a long-term task of extreme patience that Lakhdar Subhi, retired from the national education sector, has undertaken since the end of the 70s, especially since this small museum has become over the years a place of research. The idea of the collection of old objects became a passion. Being retired now, I devote myself entirely to this small museum. What motivates me more is the enthusiasm of many national and international researchers preparing their PhD and master degrees. This rich collection is a reference in terms of history. Therefore, it has to be preserved for the coming generations.
That was it for our news edition. Thank you for tuning in to our program. Good night.